It is now official. As of 11 p.m. last night, thousands of students across Trinidad and Tobago who sat the April 10th examination, the SEA examination, will have now known which school they would have passed for. And I know that Hanif Benjamin was on this program. I was mentioning to the producer just before the program started how excellent Hanif Benjamin was yesterday morning on this program as students and teachers and parents get up to find out what were the results of this examination. We have Martin Lumpkin, tutor president, on with us this morning. I'm going to come back to Mr. Lumpkin in just a minute because I want to address the entire SEA situation, is the best word I can use, for a little bit before we begin the interview, because there's a lot to say about the SEA examination. There's a lot to say, and most people say, well, we need to finish with it. We need to replace it. Replace it with what? We're not very sure as yet. Maybe a national learning assessment. Whatever that looks like in the future, it looks adamant that governments past and government present look adamant that they are interested in getting rid of the SEA exam at some point in time. It just seems like a matter of time, but it also seems like a matter of what is the best role of assessment for these young students as they enter and transition into secondary schools. We can have that conversation. We will continue to have that conversation next year and the year after that until it's actually replaced. But as the Catholic Education Board of Management chair once said, we can't move forward if we keep saying that it's not working, we have to go back. Interestingly, the method in which the students would have gotten their results last night raised some eyebrows. Now, it's not very different from last year, and it's not very different from the year before that either. But there was an interesting take from a principal who just randomly messaged me last night, and I thought it was an interesting take. You don't have to agree with it, but I think it adds to the conversation in a real way. And I'm going to read it. It'll take about 30 seconds, but I'll read it. I don't want my exuberance to intoxicate my verbosity, but I have to shatter the cruel silence. I am not accustomed to waking up to go to Zen, I'm guessing he's talking about the nightclub, for 11, to start a party or to go to a fete somewhere, so this waking up for results is nerve-wracking. I am from the old school. Are we in the era called progress, or is this treatment to thousands of parents, teachers, and children slow poison? Yes. The humane, supportive medium of physically distributing the results has been snatched away from those who would have invested in time and love building relationships with parents and children. Exchange of hugs and cementing ties at the right moment have been destroyed. But at least save our kids the pain and torture. Do your thing. Release the results online, but in the morning, please. The exuberance of this grandfather's verbosity waiting on his granddaughter's results may be directly proportional to his intoxication. Somebody help me not to accept this. A school principal talking to me last night, and I thought it was an interesting perspective. Martin Lumpkin, welcome to the program. Thank you very much for joining us as you usually make yourself available to us. We always appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bichu. Good morning to you. Good morning to your team, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
That was a school principal that I was in conversation with last night. What do you make of his or her statement?
And we've had reports and feedback from our members concerning along the same lines that our dear principal has expressed. A number of our principals, teachers, educators, even parents are, as they say, old school, and to have to switch from a physical to an online. Both methods of releasing have its advantages as well as drawbacks. And I know that the ministry's trust is in terms of going with the technology and online. And we know the positives that can come from that in terms of psychologically for the students and the parents. And we also know the positives of being there together, awaiting the results. The principal or representative usually goes and get the physical results, and then it is released to the students. So it is a matter of having to adjust to what is now being presented. In terms of the time frame, in the night, I know the ministry, when they attempted in the past, last year, there was almost a crash on the system, and they would have tried to to mitigate against it this time by having it earlier. We haven't gotten any feedback as to the how it worked this year, but I can tell you that from what I've gotten, the students were able to get it as they logged in. Sorry, sorry, and that's from a personal view as well too, because my fourth child wrote a CA this year, and she was able to get it online.
Extend our congratulations to her, please, Mr. Lumpkin. It's just been about 7 hours since the portal has opened. You've given me a little bit of a sneak peek. What are the preliminary reports you have gotten?
We haven't gotten, because of the time frame as well too. As the principal would have said, it's late into the night, and sometimes early morning that persons would have logged in. So we haven't been able to get a true reflection of it or even preliminary. But what I want to say as well too is the consideration of the online as well. There are parents who do not have access to devices or internet connection at that time period, and will rely on getting the results or at the school or going to some relative or neighbor to assist them in getting the results. So that's one of the drawbacks we have to look at, and utilizing the technology. Not all of our parents or students or even educators have access to the device and the internet connection as well.
Yeah, Education Minister Dr. Michael Dowlett, in response to those concerns, did tell us that the parents and children can attend the school in which the child would have gone to, and collected the physical slip this morning to find out which school the child would have passed for. I want to switch the conversation a little bit as we transition from the secondary entrance assessment examination into the July-August vacation, and then into the academic year, the first term of the academic year. It's going to be a pivotal 7 weeks. It's not even going to be 8 weeks as I understand it, because schools will close on the 11th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be a crucial 7 weeks. And one of the challenges that we've had down the years, Mr. Lumpkin, is how do we ensure that our schools are refurbished, repaired in time for when the students come back in September, that they're able to start in September 1, but also that they're able to exist in a school for 8 or 9 hours that is habitable, really. Have you gotten any early indications that the new administration is being proactive, or as proactive as can be, in getting every school ready for September?
Okay, thank you for that question. Before I address your question, Mr. Littrell, just one other thing in terms of the SEA results. The schools are being sent, or the schools can access the results online, because as you said, parents who cannot access the devices, etc., can go to the school. However, we have one challenge, and we intend to raise it with the Ministry of Education. The school can access it through the principal's personal FAC account and not the school's account. So if a principal is on leave at that time, the school cannot access it because it's being sent to the principal's FAC. We have instances of principals going on sick leave, and the school, it will be a challenge for them to access it. So we are going to address that with the Ministry of Education and going forward. In terms of infrastructure, when we met with the Honorable Minister and his team, there was assurances that they will be dealing with infrastructural work during the vacation period. And we're always mindful, because this particular factor impinges on infrastructural work, upgrades, etc., health and safety. That is the funding and the economic situation which we are facing at this time. And I know that successive and this present administration would like to have all schools repaired and in a state of readiness come September, but it is not because of the financial situation and the time period that it is not possible for all schools to be addressed. We did ask the Ministry of Education for a list so that we can monitor the schools and give in advance the administrators the heads up that their schools will be under repairs during the vacation period. So that
but how do you, sorry to cut you, but how do you assess which schools, because every school, every teacher and every student and every parent would say my school is very important. How do you assess which schools are to be repaired or refurbished during the July-August vacation, and which schools are put on the back burner?
So the Ministry of Education has looked at what they call emergency situations, or situations that can close down the school. So they look at electrical, sewer, other health and safety issues, and they categorize it and would look at the the most serious issues that can impinge on the reopening of school, and they will classify it as such. There are instances when they can look at other areas, they will. Last July-August vacation was one of the worst we would have seen, whereby the repairs did not start on time. There was no apparent list that we could have accessed, and we're hoping that this year it would not be the case, and that we look at, there are many schools that have great health and safety issues, and we are hoping, we look forward, because we just have a week again, and as you rightfully said, 7 weeks in the vacation, it means that if we are looking at some serious upgrades and infrastructural work, that they have to start as soon as school closes. We are not aware of the schools as yet, but we are hopeful that the ministry will reach out to us with a list of schools that are there for repairs.
Let's do a little bit of reflection this morning, Mr. Lumpkin, on the last academic year. This is the closing of the academic year. There's one week left for school as of today. 1 week left. What were the major challenges? And I know that we're going to talk about school violence in a minute, but what were the major challenges, and what are you hoping that the next academic year brings that, and we can leave behind in the last academic year?
Our educators have faced many challenges, not only the last term, but the last academic year. Our educators in the primary school, we are facing curriculum overload. The curriculum is packed, and our educators are being asked to deliver and to have education, teaching, learning processes take place within our classrooms, with many challenges, lack of resources. Teachers have to dip into their pockets in order to purchase resources for our students. Resource assignment is also one, whereby schools have to engage in fundraising in order to have the schools run properly. Yes, we are getting funding from the Ministry of Education, but it is not adequate, and sometimes it is not getting to the schools in a timely manner. In secondary schools, their fundings have been reduced over the years, and some of the schools have been getting additional intake, and those are some of the challenges. We have students who are supposedly underperforming, but we are not getting the resources to assist in bringing them to a level of functional literacy. The whole area of technical vocational education, we are not too certain in the direction which we are going, but we know that it is necessary. We have the ECCE teachers who have been getting issues with their contract, renewal of contract, and even terms and conditions of employment. We have teachers in Tobago who are under contract, and we are hoping that there will be a semblance of bringing them on the establishment. But further to that, they have not been paid their contract gratuity, some of them, the majority of them, and we're hopeful that they can get that out of the way. But the whole idea of, again, violence and indiscipline, as well as curriculum support and support for our nation's educators going forward.
Yeah, I want to touch on a very key point that you just made. You spoke about the challenge of some of our children going into schools and forms that they're simply ill-prepared for. That's one of the real, if not failures, certainly challenge of our education system, that a number or large fraction of the students who write the SEA examination, Mr. Lumpkin, is not ready for the Form 1 curriculum. Am I right, and how do we address that?
There needs to be support from even ECCE level in identifying children who may have challenges, educational challenges, other challenges, and give that support from all levels. ECCE, primary education needs to be enhanced, and the support of the Student Support Services Division, we have always lamented that they are understaffed and under-resourced. They play a pivotal role in the education system, and they cannot carry out their functions and duties because they, as we have said in the past, they are assigned to clusters of schools and cannot give deep intervention when necessary. So there needs to be that support in terms of the Student Support Services Division, the referral process as well too. And when we identify these students, there may be the possibility of having them in special institutions. We have the Lady Ho Choi home, etc. We need to give more support for those persons. And the continuous training of our educators needs to be something that is enhanced. And I know that the Ministry of Education, through Dr. Kornberg, is attempting to do this, and we are working with the ministry when it comes to continuous professional development. And educators on the whole needs to be on top of their craft. Education is evolving and it is not stagnant. And as such, our educators need to be on top and appreciate that they have to be ongoing training.
I want to stick in one very quick question before we wrap the interview, Mr. Lumpkin, and that deals with school violence. The words, the statements, the rhetoric when it comes to the government stance on school violence, it's almost as though it's a zero tolerance approach. It's been very candid statements. However, are you seeing that it's having an impact? And are the statements actually being backed up by action by this government? And what would you like to see in the new academic year to really stifle the number of school violence cases we've had?
As stated before, Tita has always said that the school is a microcosm of the environment and the country. And as such, the issue of violence and indiscipline, and the Honorable Minister did say that to us, that we should not be looking at only the symptoms, but looking at the causes. And as such, there needs to be a wider attraction of interventions when it comes to that intergovernmental agencies. But at the level of the schools, there needs to be interventions at an early age again, where children, students are displaying these behaviors. And two, we have to have in the short term the complement of school health and safety officers at the secondary schools, our security officers to man and to patrol, and also the support of Student Support Services Division. It is early in the game of this new administration, but I know they have made very strong statements, and we look forward. We agree with the Honorable Prime Minister that enough is enough and that we need to have these interventions. But we're also saying that these are short-term, and we look forward to the long-term interventions, not only in our nation's schools, but throughout Trinidad and Tobago, such that we can make a dent in this issue. And we look forward to working with the Ministry of Education when possible to ensure that our schools are safe and secure and that the teaching learning process isn't interrupted.
Tutor President Martin Lumpkin, thank you very much for getting up this early to talk to us on The Morning Brew. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Martin Lumpkin, the Tutor President, on The Morning Brew here this morning as SEA results rolled out at 11 p.m. last night into today. Whatever you passed for, whichever school you passed for, whatever school your child passed for, it's now over. Congratulations to all 18,000 plus students that would have sat the SE examination. This is a hurdle that you have crossed. It doesn't matter which school that you go to, it's what you make of that school. Stay with us here in the Morning Brew, because when we come back, there's a huge Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction Conference happening in Trinidad and Tobago on July 17th. What it could mean for this country and this region, next.